Do you run the business together? Are you related to each other?
Yes, husband and wife.
Okay. What kind of business do you have?
It's a production design and set construction company. We build sets for
Where is it located?
Van Nuys.
In California?
California, yes.
How long have you owned the business?
About 7 years.
Tell me when you hired Mr. Encinas.
We originally hired him in January of 2022.
To do what?
Welding and fabrication.
Did you have experience in that, Mr.?
Oh, yeah, 25 years.
How much were you paid when you were originally hired?
$39.75 hourly, and promised to be in the union.
$39.75 hourly. Mm-hmm. Did you get paid once a week?
Once a week, every Wednesday.
By check or cash?
Direct deposit.
Is that correct?
I believe it was $39.50, but yes, the rest is...
Direct deposit?
Yes.
This is what your case is about. At some point, you determined that you had overpaid Mr. Encinas. When did you discover that you were overpaying Mr. Encinas?
We discovered the error on September 22nd, 2022.
And had you been consistently overpaying him since January?
No, so it's a little bit complicated. We have two companies, one is union, one is not. In April of 22, we hired him with our non-union company to perform a different non-union job, and that is when the error occurred with that company and that payroll company. He was entered into the system incorrectly by my bookkeeper, who's here as our witness today.
Okay, it was still direct deposit.
Correct, yes.
The net that was deposited into his check when he was working in the union shop was how much?
I would estimate $1,800 to $2,000.
Well, don't estimate, that's what we're doing here.
I don't have an exact figure of how much he netted every week. It was different every week on every job.
Because he worked
different amount of hours.
Different hours. So he worked different hours. So the direct deposit was different for each time.
Sure.
So there was really no way, there were no flashing red lights that would say to Mr. Encinas, this pay stub is wrong. You know, this deposit was wrong because it wasn't a consistent amount that went in every Wednesday. It was, according to you, a different amount depending upon how many hours worked. He wasn't given a physical check. Money was put into the bank by a direct deposit. That's what you said.
That's correct.
Okay.
But if I may, it would be anywhere from $1,700 to $2,000. The first overpayment, he netted $4,645. Like, it's quite a jump in pay. Like, that was probably should have been
a lot of overtime.
Just
yes, quite a difference.
Quite a difference, but that was going from one job to another, from one company to another, from a union job to a non-union company.
Rate.
Well, whatever. Okay. And so what you're suing for the overage that you paid him.
Yes.
And there came a time when you discussed the overage with him. And what did he say when you told him that he was overpaid? And when did you tell him that he was overpaid?
We told him September, the day we discovered the error, September 22nd, and it was very amicable at first. We apologized for the error. We wanted to work out a payment plan with him, and he agreed. He said, I get it. I would love to do a payment plan, and I believed him because we had a good working relationship.
And did you, in fact, draw up a payment plan that you both signed?
No, I did not.
Okay. Unusual case for me. I really am unfamiliar with the law on overpayment. Sarah, could you look up for me the California law on when an employee is overpaid by an employer? How do they and can they recoup it?
Sure. So it's California Labor Code 221. The statute describes that employers are forbidden from taking back any wages that have already been paid to employees unless there's a stipulation that the employee can agree in writing to the deduction by the employer. So if an employee consents to a set-off or a wage deduction for any reason, including overpayment by an employer, then the employer can make it so long as it does not bring the worker below the minimum wage or the deduction does not impact the worker's final wages. But it has to be in a writing.
Okay, so you don't have a writing.
Well, we have it in email where he did agree to a payment plan. We never formally, I didn't have my attorney draft up a formal agreement, no.
You don't have an agreement, one that he agreed to, but you started taking money out of his pay, correct?
With his knowledge, a small percentage.
Doesn't matter. You started taking money out of his pay when?
He was working for us at the time when we caught the error.
No, in September.
September the third week of September.
And at that time, how much do you allege that he was overpaid?
$6,595.41.
And what did you start to take out of his pay?
It was $276 that first time.
Where did you come up with that number?
I would have to refer to my bookkeeper, Danny. I don't exactly remember. It says 7 hours, less 7 hours. That wasn't his full paycheck. It was a small percentage of what he was making that week.
You're the bookkeeper?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you stand up for one moment? What is your name?
Danny White.
Mr. White, the first time that you gave Mr. Encinas a direct deposit for less than his pay, how much was the direct deposit for?
I don't have the total amount of what it was for. He would have been making around $1,800, and I took $296.
With his knowledge, we informed him, obviously.
I don't care what you informed him about. You understood what the law is. I'm sure that you must have spoken to an attorney also. Did you not?
I don't believe we
Well,
did now.
you should have, because where you live, you can't just take money out of somebody's salary if you overpay them. How many deductions did you make from his pay before he left?
2.
And then he left.
The job ended.
Well, he had been working for you for a while, so the job ended. Did you fire him? Well, he had been working for you for a while, so the job ended. Did you fire him?
No.
You just said goodbye.
The job was complete. We did the build and we sent it to the client, and then that job was over. So.
Well,
we
I
have
know,
freelance.
but he had been working for you January and February and March, April, May, June, July, August, September, I'm sure on different jobs. Would that be a fair statement? He worked on different jobs. But in September, when this overpayment was noticed, the job was over and so was he.
Correct.
So he didn't leave you. According to what you just told me, he didn't leave you. You said goodbye, the job's over.
Yeah, correct. I had every intention of working with him again. We had a good working relationship. I thought we were going to be able to work out a payment plan and figure it out together.
Okay, well, sorry, but you can't. Thank you, Mr. White. Okay, you have a whole bunch of reasons why you shouldn't owe them the money. One of them is they were supposed to get you into a union shop and you didn't, and so that's why you don't owe them money. Bottom line is the statute protects you, but one of the problems that I see when you have a direct deposit, your problem is that according to you, his pay varied every week because sometimes he worked 7 hours, sometimes he worked 15 hours, and so his pay would vary depending upon how much was billed for that week. Well, it depends upon how carefully someone reviews their direct deposit. You know, if you review your direct deposit and you have money coming in to a checking account and going out, you don't watch it that carefully over a relatively short period of time, because it was a relatively short period of time. And the law protects Mr. Encinas from you recouping that money unless he agrees to it. And the agreement has to be in writing. Is that what you just told me the law is in California?
That is the Labor Code 221.
Yeah, I'm not particularly sympathetic with you, Ms. McCarthy, because under the circumstances, if you had given him a check, if your bookkeeper handed him a check, and he used to get $2,000, and then all of a sudden he changed jobs and he was getting $4,000, he would say, oh my goodness. But I can understand how you can miss that for a month or two and not notice that in your checking account. And that's why the law is there to protect him. And it does. It protects him from your lawsuit. We're done. Thank you very much. Case is dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
I'm a little disappointed, very disappointed actually.
They made a mistake.
I thought that I had done my homework and looked it up, and whatever I read said that he owed me the money back.
Because I did all the hours that they put down on the paperwork.
No, I think it was stealing. After 6 months of him ignoring my phone calls and not replying and saying he was going to make payments and he just wouldn't, yeah, it felt like it was stealing.
I did not get free money.
Yeah, if you're given money that isn't yours,